I'm Abhishek, and you're listening to Connected by mParticle, where we interview the people that help create some of the most beloved brands in the world. These folks have a unique ability to bring together seemingly unrelated people and technologies to deliver some truly amazing results. It's an understatement to say the restaurant business is tough. Local mom and pops not only have to concentrate on creating dishes that consumers love, but are increasingly reliant on digital channels to sustain their business. Join me for an insightful conversation with Jordan Plecque, who breaks down the digital ordering ecosystem and how ChowNow's commission-free products help level the online playing field for our favorite neighborhood eateries. Jordan, happy Friday. Thanks for jumping on the pod today. I'd love to start by getting a little introduction to yourself and what you do for the audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy Friday, Avi. So my name's Jordan Plecque. I'm a manager at ChowNow on the DNA team, data and analytics. Our team is comprised of about 13 individuals distributed across analytics and data science, as well as data engineering. We're a centralized team within the company. However, we align in various functional areas. And as a result, are able to partner to varying degrees with effectively every department within the organization, which is awesome. So the majority of my focus has largely been on the product engineering and operations side. It's not only myself, but I have an awesome team of 3 data scientists. It wasn't always that way. It wasn't always that big. When I first joined back in the fall of 2018, I was one of 2. Right. And again, yep. now we're 13, right? So needless to say, things look quite a bit different now than they did back then.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, I know I have all the history, but this is 3 years, right? Like just sinking in. I think we've both sort of been in startups now for 3 years, and it's it's been unbelievable to kind of see like where the conversations we were having 3 years ago and some of the things I know you and the team are working on now. But okay, Jordan, that's a lot, right? Like it's data engineering, there's data science, there's analytics, and I want to get into sort of how all of those pieces work together, dive into a little bit more about what that function that you play in does specifically at ChowNow. But I guess we got to set the table. What the heck is ChowNow? What do you guys do? Give me the skinny on sort of ChowNow as a business and how you sort of differ from other meal delivery services.
Definitely, yeah. So ChowNow has been around actually since 2011, and what we do today is the same thing that we had been doing. Or we have been doing since then. And it's really just helping restaurants all throughout North America sustainably grow both their takeout and their delivery business. And we do this by, we offer a range of digital tools and services, marketing support, and perhaps most importantly, full access to valuable customer data for those restaurants. And that's probably the biggest differentiator between us and some of the other companies that some of the listeners might be familiar with. We do this through kind of 3 core products. We have our direct product, which is effectively a white labeled online ordering solution that also includes branded mobile apps. So we will build a iOS or an Android app that puts the restaurant's brand first and allows diners to order directly through that restaurant. We also have a marketplace, and we're continuing to grow that team, and that is basically the one-stop shop for diners to access the majority of restaurants, if not all restaurants that we do partner with. So that's about 20,000 plus, and every day that number continues to grow. And then the last of the products is something called the Ordering Better Network, or the Order Better Network rather. And it's basically a product that connects restaurants and diners through over a dozen different channels. So that could be ordering through Google, ordering through TripAdvisor, Instagram, Yelp, etc. There are a multitude of different channels, and really it's just meant to help restaurants better reach diners that are interested in ordering from them.
I didn't realize this. Like, when I go on, yeah, Uber Eats or I felt like, okay, this is sort of a commoditized space, right? I open an app, I find my favorite restaurant, I order. And until I started working with you guys, I never realized like the business behind it and how, sure, if maybe you're a McDonald's or, a large multinational chain, you can negotiate certain deals and how that profit split up that works. But you think about all like my favorite restaurants, which are typically mom and shop local places in the Jersey City area. I didn't realize in terms of the model, right? And I want you to chime in and give your perspective on this. But my understanding is like sometimes with all the fees, right? The delivery fees, the 30% that gets, kind of cut off the top of orders. Um, it's pretty tough for mom and pop shops that, aren't digitally native, like they don't have a marketing team or a web developer that can build them a site to basically go and, access a large part of their customer base. So, Jordan, could you speak a little bit to how specifically ChowNow helps those smaller mom and pop shops? Like, how are you guys differentiated from, say, an Uber Eats?
Yeah, definitely. The company's focus has always been on the local restaurants, right? And there's been plenty of articles out there over the course of the last couple of years in terms of some of these commissions and these fees that are being charged to restaurants. At our core, we're a commission-free online ordering platform. So speaking to our direct product, which I mentioned earlier, is this is something that we offer to restaurant partners for a very reasonable monthly fee. And that really just kind of goes back to this goal of ours to sustainably or to help these restaurants sustainably grow their takeout business. So, that's definitely a big differentiation. I think that it's something that diners have become increasingly aware of, I think over the last year and a half or so. That is, how difficult the restaurant business is, right? And how large of a take sometimes can be taken away from these restaurants through various other ordering channels. Again, there's plenty of kind of articles out there. I don't need to repeat any of that. But at the end of the day, like, we believe that the restaurants have more than enough on their plate to do what they do best, and that is make great food to provide an amazing experience for their diners, right? So if we can take something off of their plate as it relates to helping them to navigate this online experience, their marketing arm, et cetera, that's really the least that we can do, and we attempt to do that in a way that is most sustainable as possible for them, so that we can continue to see them grow as they have since 2011 and working with our platform.
Well, pun intended. I'll preface with that I really wanted to set the table with that context, because that, to me, that mission, right, of keeping the restaurant at the heart of what you guys do and thinking about how you guys really help them and I know we're going to get into the customer experience part of this, but keeping that your core mission, and sort of building an organization around it. Yeah, it's just been awesome to be a small part of that journey along the years. So, yeah, shout out to ChowNow, right? I mean, I'm biased, I'm a fan, but I just wanted to put that out there. All right, Jordan, getting back into the X's and O's, because I said, analytics, data science, data engineering, there's a lot there. And I'd love to get some takeaways on like what your team specifically does in this ecosystem for ChowNow. But you hit on a few things. So you mentioned, and this is also something I found fascinating about ChowNow's business, you guys sort of have two separate sort of customers in a sense, right? Like you have the Discover product, which in a lot of ways is like a ChowNow branded app you can discover multiple restaurants. Me, an individual consumer, is going into that app and finding a new restaurant or finding my favorite one and ordering. Um, and then you also have a completely separate business model, which is, how do we help that small mom and pop restaurant really maximize their opportunities, get visibility into who their customers are, build a great experience on the restaurant side. So could you talk me through, and this is a big topic, so feel free to take it wherever you want, but talk me through some of the major opportunities and challenges, maybe from a data and analytics perspective, of working with both kind of like the end user consumer and the restaurant.
Yeah, definitely. And before jumping in there, I think this is just testament to how long we've been working together. But we back in 2018, our marketplace product was referred to as Discover, and today actually we've kind of done away with the Discover name, and it's just the marketplace, and then the mobile app is our ChowNow app. So, but to your point, I mean, look, our bread and butter has always been to help these restaurants by equipping them with various tools and services to grow their online ordering business, right? And that started out by building white label ordering solutions, both web products and branded mobile apps that really do just put that restaurant brand front and center. So, while there's always been this focus on diners, it's largely been through the lens of the restaurant partner, right? And perhaps not surprisingly, the ways in which you market to diners and communicate to diners on behalf of the restaurant, or rather equip the restaurant to do that themselves, is a much different problem than a traditional kind of B2C communication strategy, right? And I'm not going to act like I am anything close to a marketing or a messaging expert. Fortunately, we have a great team that are experts in that area. But our company, having largely focused on that B2B2C, informally is kind of how we refer to it. Sometimes even kind of the marketing team has referred to it as R2D, restaurant to diner, right? Sure. That's presented both kind of some challenges, but also kind of some benefits, or rather, let's say, some advantages and some disadvantages as we've moved more into what was very much so a natural progression into saying, hey, we work with all these restaurant partners. We're allowing diners to order directly through them. What if we made it easier for the diners to just order through all of them through a single place, right? And that's what ended up birthing that marketplace product. But what's come about here is that we have this history of having really understood and been able to learn the different ways in which diners interact directly with a restaurant, so we can apply that to how diners might interact with a marketplace, something that is a little bit different than that direct interaction with a given restaurant, right? The challenge that same thing is presented is the fact that it's not uncommon for the ChowNow brand to be unfamiliar to consumers, right? Because we've largely taken a backseat to the restaurant's brand. We've always put the restaurant's brand front and center. I have so many friends that when I started, well, that sounds a little bit weird. So many friends, but no, right? Exactly. No, I have a bunch of friends that when I started at ChowNow had never even heard of the company, and when they started to place an order, they had, funny enough, realized they already had an account, and that was because they had ordered directly from a restaurant, right? So those are just some of the challenges that I think that have presented themselves as we've started to expand from largely serving restaurants and indirectly their diners, to building a product that we now have that aggregates all of these restaurants for diners to not only discover new restaurants, but also seamlessly reorder from some of their favorites.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because both are just different channels, whether it is a white labeled website or app, or kind of downloading the ChowNow marketplace app directly, they're both channels to ultimately get the consumer, the end consumer, through a platform that through a sustainable business model will allow, that exchange of an amazing service, an amazing meal. But I wonder, like, in terms of, do you guys, is that a concern or something that comes up, as you guys sort of build out and market and advertise like the direct to consumer app, right? The ChowNow branded app compared to maybe some of your longer term existing customers that maybe are like using your white label websites and mobile apps. Um, is there any consideration on like folks to order through the Discover app versus, or sorry, the marketplace app versus sort of a white labeled app?
No, I mean it's there, the two are very much complementary. I mean, there's at our core, right? The thing that ChowNow will never change is the fact that we want to provide ways in which diners can sustainably order at the restaurants. So by furthering kind of the channels, right, that this can be done, doesn't really have any impact on, or sorry, doesn't some of it doesn't have an impact on the restaurants. A restaurant is not at a disadvantage if they are receiving orders through these various channels, right? Like at the end of the day, this is just extending the reach, the access to diners to tap into our large and our growing restaurant base, right? So, these two products and our Order Better network as well, the three products themselves really are complementary, and a combination of all three really is something that we feel strongly can really help restaurants succeed in this environment where diners are becoming increasingly used to ordering online, no longer calling the restaurant, getting food possibly delivered, but also in many cases going to that restaurant and picking up their food directly, right? We're really just trying to make it as easy for the restaurant to make themselves available to their various diners.
No, and thank you for clarifying. I think that makes all the sense in the world. It's basically like anywhere, the way I almost think about it is like anywhere a big, multinational Fortune 500, restaurant group or restaurant can make themselves available. It's like, how do we bring that same power and technology in a sustainable way to, small mom and pop restaurants, right? It's like if you're on Google and you can order from Google, ChowNow makes that super easy for you to do as well.
Exactly. No, because it's you're completely right. A lot of these mom and pop shops don't have the luxury of having a shop that can build them a totally customized mobile app like a big, one of these big brands, right? So that's where our direct product thrives, right? Is really equipping these restaurants with all of the tools, not only the ordering solutions but the marketing solutions, in order to sustainably grow that online ordering channel.
That's awesome. All right, I'm thinking about the listeners here that are you know a data engineer, somebody thinking about building a really great product, a mobile app with great customer experience. I think everyone can agree that like data, wrangling that data together, understanding what that data means is like a critical part to anything, right? That's everything from customizing an email to decisions around like how you build a product or what product within, your app that you build next. So I guess one of the things I wanted to ask you, for ChowNow, in terms of like how you guys leverage data and technology to drive better customer experience, whether that's for the direct consumer or the restaurant. What are some of the opportunities and challenges again of like collecting data across all these different services? And any insights into kind of how you guys are using that data to drive experiences?
So in general, this is very applicable, right, to some of the current challenges that we're facing. But keep in mind, ChowNow has been around since 2011. We've had diners ordering through our various channels since then. for a large portion of that time, it was largely through our direct product. So it was very much a diner direct to restaurant interaction. But, you know, what that has presented to us as we explore these other channels is we now have a extremely large pool of diners that already have some familiarity with online ordering, and in often or in some cases ChowNow as well, right? So really the challenge here is how can we take our learnings from how diners interact directly with restaurants, and how can we use that to bring improvements to all of our products, not just that direct product, but also our marketplace product? How can we help them continue to reorder from those restaurants? How can we help them? How can we use data and technology to drive them towards discovering new restaurants that are maybe similar to some of the ones that they have previously ordered from, right? Data is absolutely at the core of that, right? Like we need to understand their ordering behavior, what their interests are, what their likes and what their dislikes are, in order to build a product that allows them to get exactly what they're seeking when they come to our product, and that is either discovering a new restaurant to order from or reordering from one of their favorites that they already know is one of our various restaurant partners.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's not too different than, I imagine any, big major beloved brand, right? It's like, hey, whether that's a QSR restaurant or a retail, it's like, hey, you bought this shirt, right? It's a blue shirt. These are the 7 things that our ML, things would go as a nice match to this, or the classic, right? Hey, do you want fries with that? Right.
Yep,
and
yep.
I think what's really interesting in what you're saying too, Jordan, is like, that is normally like that scale of data. Again, like going back to helping the mom and pop restaurant, there's no way that an individual single family restaurant, in the middle of Jersey City is going to have the demographic data, the likes, the behavioral data of, the millions and millions of potential customers they have. So to be able to sort of empower them, genuinely because of what they stand for, right? I mean, it's like it's matching your direct relationships with your consumers with the restaurant partners that you think are going to have the biggest impact. So it's almost like ChowNow in a lot of ways through data is getting better and better at playing matchmaker in a way.
Definitely. And I think even beyond that, to help, diners explore or discover new favorites, I mean, we're equipping these restaurants with that information so that they can continue to do what they're doing a great job of already, and that is making great food and creating an awesome experience for their diners, right? They have the benefit to understand, when a given diner comes in, how many times that diner is ordered from that restaurant. And obviously these are things that, traditionally, like, you have your regulars, right? But as things get more and more digital, I mean, I think that it's extremely important for the restaurant to understand kind of the who their customers are. And again, that's really one of the differentiators that ChowNow has relative to some of these other companies that are out there. And we really want the restaurant to feel like they own their customers, because they absolutely do, right? We do not own the restaurant's customers. It is the restaurant's customers.
Jordan, if you don't mind, I'd love for you to expand on that point for a minute. So, okay, hold on. So not only are you guys, and again, I think broadly your team, right, in analytics and data science, looking at kind of some of these direct consumers, what they're ordering and playing matchmaker, you're saying there's also sort of a service, a value prop here where the individual restaurant, can sort of log in or ChowNow will expose to me, like, here's like the top selling item right in the menu. Like, here's sort of the channels in which your customers are ordering from, like the variance in like, total order size based on, maybe from the in-store POS to online. Am I hearing that right? Or am I kind of going off on a...
No, absolutely. And, we have an awesome product team that builds our restaurant facing products, right? So there are various ways in which restaurants can access their data. And in the case that what they're asking is maybe a little bit more nuanced or more specific, we have an awesome restaurant success team that partners very closely with these restaurant partners, and in most, if not all cases, is able to get the restaurant what it is they're looking for to improve their service experience for their diners. So absolutely.
That's yeah, want to triple underline that because I think that is, just absolutely amazing. Okay, all right. I mean, Jordan, I feel like we've talked a lot and you've been so gracious with your time talking about sort of, the business and what you guys are building and doing at ChowNow, and that's truly amazing. But I always want to take some time in these episodes to kind of share like the person behind all of this, right? Like who the heck is Jordan? And I guess this is another, a little bit of a convoluted two-part question, but and you can take this anywhere you want to, but it's like, how the heck did you get into this crazy world of like data and analytics? Like what excites you about this as an individual, and sort of what's next for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I prior to joining ChowNow, I was working as part of a more traditional like biz ops analytics team at a different company, really enjoying the space there. But what I was seeking out of the move 3 years ago now was really to go to a company where I am extremely passionate about its mission, its purpose, the value that it's bringing to its customers. I don't think I could have chosen a better place, to be honest. What ChowNow stands for in helping these local restaurants, I think we can all recognize that over the last couple of years, it's become extremely apparent how difficult it is to run a restaurant, and it's extremely fulfilling just to reflect on the different ways in which we're able to support these local restaurants, right? So I had been in the field of analytics for a little while prior to joining ChowNow, but really this move was largely just because of the company. I fell in love with everyone that I had met through the interview process. I was also very excited about the opportunity to join a very small team, both the analytics team, but the company as a whole. But again, that was great for the first year. I wouldn't trade it for where we are today. We now have a team of more data engineers and more data scientists than I could have imagined back in early 2019.
Sure.
In terms of what's ahead, I mean, just continuing to grow the DNA team. And I think that I'm now at that point where I'm part of a team that's 7x what it was when I started, and I'm just extremely excited to continue to see the ways in which our team is able to continue partnering with various departments within the organization to leverage data in a way that is able to meaningfully impact restaurants and their diners, right? So in a nutshell, more of the same. Just continue growing this awesome team and this awesome company, and yeah, really excited for what's to come in 2022.
Wow. That's awesome to hear. Yes, like I think data and technology and stuff like sort of, brought us together, brought us into this world. But the fact that I think something I really admire personally about you is like you're looking at this from what's a mission I can stand for. And yeah, like I may have a part to play in that because I manage an analytics team, a data science team, but that's just sort of a means to an end, right? It's one tool, it's one method in which you can sort of incrementally drive value for something you're passionate about.
No, absolutely. And I mean, real quick, just on the team aspect there and the people aspect. I mean, I think that is one of my favorite things about the DNA team at ChowNow is that we are, the centralized nature of our team allows us to partner so deeply with different areas of the business, and as a result, every different project presents a unique opportunity, right, for us to partner very closely with the domain experts, right? Whether that be product, whether that be engineering, whether that be marketing, operations, sales, etc. Right? The structure of our team within this company, I think, is absolutely one of the things that has attracted the majority of the DNA team, if not all of the DNA team, to this opportunity, right? But yeah.
I mean, the cliche of the podcast being called connected is sort of, hitting on not only the data and technology and how there's connectivity there to, make these magic moments happen, but you just hit on this a little bit, Jordan. I guess from your perspective, could you speak a little bit more on what you just said there, which is like, in order to drive the business forward, in order to ultimately deliver this value, who are you typically working with outside of your core team? The people, the partners, the teams outside to drive sort of these outcomes. And if you have one, like any particular memorable anecdote of working cross collaboratively to deliver on something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and you know, let me preface this by saying that to the listeners, Abhi did not ask for this plug, but I definitely think it's fitting to discuss the recently improved implementation of our instrumentation and CDP solutions. This was a project that a cross-functional team within the company has spent the last handful of months working on. And quite simply would not have been possible without involvement from all of those teams. So again, it's product, it's engineering, it's marketing, it's DNA, both data science and data engineering, right? So, from the product and engineering side, their role was largely in helping to define these key user flows, scoping various technical requirements, right? And then DNA came in to help guide the data strategy, ensure that data is consumable and fit for purpose, so that the marketing and the product teams can then use that data to continually improve the user lifecycle, right? Through products, through our marketing, et cetera. So as I said at the beginning of our discussion, while there are undoubtedly some bumps and bruises that are still healing from the project, we are undeniably in a much better place than we were 6 months ago, and it's 100% due to just this awesome partnership by all people involved on this project. So
that's funny. When you're talking, I almost think about like data's like a rugby ball or something, and it's like, just different teams like passing it off like onto each other to move forward ultimately down the field. Like I'm an mParticle customer success manager, and this is something we preach all the time, but I think the most successful customers I've ever had, it's never been like, I'm a marketer, I figured out all of this on my own, and I delivered this great campaign. Like the backstories on like how many conversations they've had to have. And that makes so much sense. There's data engineering to actually get the data, and then, there's your team to actually cleanse and make sense of it. And then it's delivering that data through a technology partner who you're partnering with to your marketing team, who may also be working with an agency to kind of come up with that really amazing campaign that's going to drive, more users to the app. Like, I think a lot of people see the tip of the iceberg there, but it really does take a village. And every time I interview a guest here, it's the same answer. So, all right, Jordan, I know we're coming up on time. So if you got a few more minutes to spare, two more questions. The last one's sort of a series of rapid fires. But I guess I'll start with, as a consumer, right? So taking off our business hats, this is Jordan, the guy, the California guy that's now in, Minneapolis. What is your favorite brand or experience, and why?
It's a good question. So I think this favoritism definitely includes quite a bit of recency bias, but I've spent a significant portion of time over the last 3 months in the houzz app. Houzz is a app for kind of inspiration, designing homes and just general home improvement. My wife and I are actually in the process of becoming first-time home buyers, so it's been like drinking through a fire hose to say the least. And this is just one of the many apps that have helped to keep us somewhat sane, and it's a little fun. It's a little fun too. I think probably my favorite features, perhaps this goes hand in hand with my my background in data, is really just that tagging functionality of the ability to customize and tag various inspiration photos, discussions, etc., and the ways in which houzz is able to use that data to then improve my experience when I return to that product, right? And really make for a place for me to, get the answers I'm looking for as quickly as possible. And then obviously endlessly scrolling the discussion forums, right, for any and all relevant topics, because again, this is our first time doing this, and every day we're learning 10 new things. So
Wow, man. Well, congrats. Like that's news to me. That's a big deal, becoming a first time home buyer. I haven't been in their app in years, but that's really interesting that they have like, so is it that you can tag like different things you're interested in or different threads?
yeah, I mean, so I've largely used it just to I think the feature I think it's they basically allow you to like create these projects, which are effectively just collections. As perhaps not surprisingly, my my collection is probably a bit messy just because I'm constantly adding different things. My wife and I are constantly adding different things to our collection and our project. But yeah, no, it's been an awesome app, and again, probably a little bit of favoritism, or sorry, a little bit of recency bias there because of kind of everything that's going on. But no, it's been a great app and something that we probably spend 30 or so minutes on every evening.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, all right. We got to wrap up with these rapid fire questions.
Uh-oh.
They're yes or no, except for the last one. If you want to elaborate, you can, but I'll just get right into it. So,
Let's do it.
Pineapple on pizza.
Oh gosh. I'm a yes, and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of heat for that, but I am a yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not the only guest that said yes, by the way. It is, I agree with you, it is an unpopular opinion, but okay, so when you say yes to pineapple, like yes generally, or is it only on specific sort of settings, like a Hawaiian pizza or something?
Oh, okay. No, it's only on a Hawaiian pizza.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But and I wouldn't say Hawaiian's the first type of pizza that I'll order. But when it is there, I will absolutely have a slice, and I am not one to pick off the pineapple.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Winter or summer sports?
Winter. And I think that I also didn't really know what winter sports were living in California for the majority of my life, right? Because there's winter there is what, 70 degrees. But on that note, I actually recently experienced a pretty awesome event. I went out to Green Bay at Lambeau Field and watched a football game in the snow there, which definitely was a bucket list item, and I think that's probably the epitome of winter sports, right? So I would definitely say I'm a winter sports fan.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Unexpected answer, by the way. Yes, because Jordan is through and through a SoCal guy, but winter sports. LeBron or MJ?
Probably MJ. He's got a great last name.
Yeah. There we go. That's easy enough. That one did it, and that's a great reason. Froyo or ice cream?
Actually, funny enough, my first job ever was at Yogurtland. So I think I'd probably have to go Froyo.
Yeah. Fair enough. Listen, for me, it's tough. It's tough, but the toppings in the frozen yogurt places are always on another level. So they'll always have that. All right. Final question for you, Jordan, just because I'm a huge foodie and I have to know this from every guest. And you could take this, either way. So you could do favorite restaurant in SoCal, or favorite restaurant in Minneapolis.
All right.
Or both.
Yeah, I'm gonna do both. Favorite restaurant in SoCal, in Los Angeles is Night Market. It's a Thai restaurant. They have a couple of locations. I've only been to one of them, but funny enough, the my last week in LA before driving out to Minneapolis, I ate lunch 3 days in a row at night market.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
there's this isn't just lip service. This is
exactly. And then in Minneapolis, it's a restaurant called Colita, and it's a Mexican restaurant down in South Minneapolis, and we try to go there at least once every couple of months, and it's great food, great drinks, and yeah, we're probably due for a visit here shortly.
all right. All right. Well, shout out to Night Market, shout out to Colita, and listen, Jordan, whenever we're out past this crazy COVID stuff, I'm coming out. We'll fly out to LA. We got to do that. But then, I'm coming up to Minneapolis, and then maybe you, me, and Stevens can all get a couple rounds of drinks at Colita. That would be awesome.
Let's do it. I'm going to be about 1.5 miles from Stevens, so
Awesome.
perfect.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Well, always a pleasure. Thanks again for taking the time, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Really appreciate you jumping on.
All righty, later.
Thanks so much for listening to this conversation from Connected by mParticle. For more on this episode, you can check out the show notes and transcript on our blog. You can also subscribe to the podcast on any major podcast player. If building great customer experiences is important to you, sign up for our monthly newsletter, mPulse, which includes a very short list of the best blog articles, use cases, and industry reads from throughout the month. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.